behind the lock.
I'm here to collect Mr. Hawthorne's rent! Shut that squeal! Before I get you fucking squeal now! Christ almighty!
Johnny Fletcher busted into a farmhouse on property.
You bring me back that stuff to false.
Well, look at what we have here.
Please don't kill me.
Gentleman John Fletcher! Damn it!
Johnny Fletcher! Don't make me chase you! I didn't kill nobody. I didn't murder that family.
That don't break me down to me. We're bounty hunters. We're a wanted man. Here.
Out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. And yet the menace of the years finds, and shall find me, unafraid. It matters not how straight the gates, how charged the punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Stand down and no one has to die today.
This only ends one way.
They'll kill you all.
Why not take your chances in a prison cell?
Alright, I'm coming out.
My lord, I have a report.
Speak.
Our latest assassination attempt on Lady Nocturne has failed.
I can see stronger measures are needed. Begin phase 2.
Captured! The notorious Lady Nocturne has been brought in through the valiant efforts of the Void Cobras.
This is better posse, huh?
Get on the damn bird.
Prisoner, take 5 steps, then stop and turn to your right.
But the pirates of Velix Mortis are far from defeated.
My lord, I have a report.
Let's cut to the chase, since we both know that this isn't a social call and you didn't come here to waste time.
Fine. High Command is gambling that the attempt on your life by your so-called friends has made you willing to cooperate. Am I wasting my time now?
What fate will befall the disgraced former pirate?
The Minotaur sends his regards, traitor.
What does your High Command want, and what are they offering in return?
High Command wants many things, but it wants a show of good faith first.
Go.
Strike Team 1, move up. Marking to covering fire.
Bravo Team 1, push up. Bravo 2, give us support.
What next for now infamous mercenaries, the Void Cobras?
I want every last pirate I used to run with dead. I don't want to be watching over my shoulder every hour of every day.
Now you die!
Will the Void Cobras become targets of Lady Nocturne's former pirate comrades?
Attention, crash override. This is Freighter Ebony Hawk. My ship just lost all power and thrust. We're going down. Mayday, mayday, mayday.
There truly is no honor among thieves. You rabble will turn on each other at the slightest provocation.
Okay, Clyde, moving past you.
Find out on the next episode of Star Citizen Nocturne.
Jameson, you copy?
Touch me now, I don't want to live without you. Nothing's gonna change my love for you.
Jameson, we require immediate emergency extract.
I don't know, man. It looks kind of hot over there.
Oh, I've entrusted my life to ants.
Okay, got it working, Sarge.
Alright, Corporal. Good work. Follow me! Y'all remember what Sarge said? Stay together, keep comms clear, and heads on the swivel.
Clear.
Okay, we're gonna secure it, then sweep the entire ship for survivors. Channel, you take point. Doc, you're behind me. Corporal, you're bringing up the rear.
Understood, Sergeant.
Taking flash. Oh shit, I just saw something. Oh my god, oh my god!
Get the hell out of here!
Get him off me, get him off me, get him off me! They're getting in my armor! Ah!
I got into collecting bounties when a gang of bandits bushwhacked my wife, my best friend Coyote, and me. Meet the Jones brothers.
To take a look at the situation in which you find yourself.
That's Joshua.
Can have real bad. What's the Indian word for
Next to him is Rufus the Doofus.
Like, I don't know. You're just trying to make me look dumb. Alright, I want to
Next
see
to him
rifles
is
on the
Lyman.
ground.
Remember those faces.
And 6.
You'll see him again.
8 hands praising Jesus.
The other ones, well, ain't no use in introducing. They're all dead.
Run!
Obadiah, get the saddlebags!
I got him!
I later discovered the Jones brothers were all wanted men. Figured I might as well get paid for taking my revenge.
Man, we still wanted for justice.
Poster still on the wall?
So I hunted down the ones we didn't kill. Lyman, he sang like a bird. Rufus and Joshua were smuggling contraband down the river. Always to the same spot. I found a nice perch on a bluff above the river where I knew they would eventually be. During the war, I was a sharpshooter. Coyote's Whitworth came in handy. For weeks, I tracked them. Then I killed them.
If you like our content, we'd appreciate if you'd like, subscribe, and get notifications. Help us extend our reach by sharing our video content. And if you want to help us beat the algorithm, also leave us a comment on some of our videos.
What is up, fam of Liberty? We got a special guest tonight. We have two special guests tonight. We got Major Richard Ojeda, U.S. Army retired, and we have Scott, who is a member of the staff of Liberty. He's one of our state reps for the fam of Liberty. I'm going to let all of the admins go ahead and introduce themselves real fast, and then we'll turn it over to Scott and Richard for their introductions.
All right, Drill Sergeant Admin Doug here. How you doing? Good to see everybody.
I'm Admin.
Oh, I got more.
I thought you were going to go for more.
All right, Drill Sergeant Admin Doug here, and I am happy to be here. How about that? And you may have seen me be one of the other hosts that don't do nearly as many videos as Big Sarge does, but many of you know me from the posts that I make up there. Also, I have my own channel, which many of you also know because you subscribe to Political Drain. And yeah, that's what we do. Here for the fight till we win.
All right, Admin Matt. Been helping Big Sarge with this project for a long while now. Mostly see me writing the essays and checking out the memes and tweaking a lot of noses here and there. Don't do quite as many videos though, but happy to be here with all of you.
Admin Jen, I shitpost. Sorry.
You are a very prolific meme poster, yeah.
Some of our best material, honestly.
Just enough to get on everyone's nerves.
All right, I'm Admin Elo, and I don't shitpost as much. I help write. Sometimes I'll help write scripts or do research, and I help post when we have theme months. Do the research for things like Gay Pride Month and those kinds of posts.
North Carolina punk.
Right.
Yeah, I am Scott, and I'm, I don't know, a pissed off, privileged white guy trying to gather people up in North Carolina to fight the good fight. Glad to be here. Thank you.
I'm really happy to hear that because I am going to announce next month. I've already basically announced it, but I'm going to officially announce next month that I am definitely going to run for Congress again in North Carolina's 9th District. My name is Richard Ojeda. I served 24 years in the military. I was a senator in West Virginia, and I was able to get things done. I made West Virginia the 29th state to become legal for medical cannabis. I won my race while I was getting facial reconstruction surgery after being hit in the back of the head with a pipe and then 8 broken bones in my face with brass knuckles. But I'm a hard sumbitch to kill. So, yeah. And, you know, I'm in this fight.
Awesome.
All right. So,
all right.
Since you mentioned it, what happened with the whole the pipe and the brass knuckles thing?
Well, everybody it was all an inside job. They knew that if I didn't die on that creek bank, that I was going to win. And I can't blame the guy that I ran against, but I know people that were around him. They were all a part of it, to include the prosecuting attorney who promised me that they would not take a plea deal, because I knew that the guy was facing 30 years, and if he got 30 years, he was going to roll on everybody. And in my absence, he took a plea deal that knocked him from 30 years down to 5. He was part of it. The judges were part of it. We had to get a judge from Charleston to come down. A judge come from Charleston, basically sentenced him to 5 years in prison, told the court right there to make sure they put something in his paperwork that says he does the full 5 years. And 4 months later, I run into him at Walmart. He didn't even do 4 months of jail in a nonviolent facility. It was all part of it. They were all a part of it. Yeah, and that was it. You know, they knew that I was going to win if I didn't get killed. So
that's amazing.
So this was
always been a contact sport.
It is where I come from. I mean, where I come from in Southern West Virginia, politics has always been that way. You know, I retired. I had no desire. I never liked a politician in my life. You know, if a politician shook my hand, first thing I want to do is wipe that thing down, you know, because you can't trust none of them. But the reason why I got in it is because, you know, I realized that the person that was my member of Congress, the only thing he did was show up during election time, wrote 3 checks to the 3 biggest crooks in the county, and they promised him the county. So I challenged him, and of course I lost, but I beat him in my county, which was a real embarrassment for him. And then that was it. I was just like, that's what I wanted to do, was just let him know that, you know, I'm not going to take his garbage. And then one of the 3 guys that usually got the checks decided to tell my father in his 70s, when he was getting a haircut, to step outside, that he was going to whoop his ass. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna take you on now. And that was it. And that's who I ended up beating and became a senator.
If anybody is surprised by the fact that there is still political violence in the 20th century and the 21st century, I'll just refer you very quickly to the Battle of Athens, which was this really wild screw job in somewhere in Tennessee, with a bunch of World War II veterans basically laying siege to half the town with looted weapons that they brought back from World War II, and that didn't go well for the cops. So it still happens in this day and age. So,
well, we are definitely in a fight. I mean, that's just the way that it is. And I'm going to tell you, you know, first off, thank you to each and every one of you all that are in this fight, because you are in this fight. If we don't take back the House and the Senate in 26, I think we may be done, you know, and make no mistake about it. They're coming after us. They're coming after our disability. This is what they want to do. And, you know, I mean, we can either accept it, or we can, you know, jump in the friggin' breach.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Well, I said today to somebody, I don't remember, maybe it was a video. I said today, I said, there's a lot of people out there who thought that keeping their head down, just keeping their head down, would keep their families safe. And after this 5th Reich that we see happening now, after the flurry of ridiculous, unbelievably unconstitutional and illegal signatures on paper by an orange vice president, they may now realize that there is no such thing. Keeping your head down to keep your family safe when fascism is afoot, there is no such thing. Either you're fighting or you're laying down. There is no such thing.
Yeah. And I apologize if I talk a lot, but I do talk a lot. I apologize. But
go ahead.
Here's the thing. Here's something also that people need to understand. You know, I draw my retirement because I spent 20 plus years in the military. I draw my disability because during those 20 years, you sent me to combat zones, exposed me to everything. I breathed in burning bodies. I mean, I've been on vehicles destroyed with depleted uranium. You know, we've all been exposed to burn pits. That's why we deserve our disability. And right now, that's what they're talking. They're talking about saying, if you draw retirement, you shouldn't draw disability. And let me tell you something, you know, if veterans aren't willing to let them know that the moment you start playing this, we're going to start fighting back. You know, you're not going to take it. You know, you want to take my Social Security. If you want to take away my Social Security, then why don't you write me a check right now of every single penny that I've ever paid into it? You know, we got to start standing up and letting these people know that we're not going to take this. Let me tell you something. We have a billionaire class right now that is starting to run this country. And they don't care about you. They don't care about me. I don't give two shits about that daggone CEO that got unalived, because he don't give two shits about me. And at the end of the damn day, we gotta be willing to stand up and fight for what we deserve. We can't let a billionaire take from us. You know, he has no concept of what struggle is. That guy was born to a father who owned a diamond mine. You know, he needs to keep his friggin' Nazi ass out of here. But once again, we have a bunch of wannabe Nazis right now in charge of our country. And, you know, that's why I have to get in this fight. I have to. And we've got to fight. Let me tell y'all something. We got to make sure that we reach out to people like the DNC and the DCCC and tell them that what they've been doing has not been working. And unless they're willing to go into certain areas and find the right candidates. And I'll say this right here. And if you think this is racist, you better think again. Let me tell you something. A black man or a black woman will never defeat Marge the Trainwreck Green in her racist-ass district. Marcus Flowers is a good friend of mine. Marcus Flowers ran one of the greatest races in the country. And 15 minutes after they closed the polls, they announced it for Marge the Trainwreck Green. This last election, a man of color that was a one-star general retired, ran. Same thing. 15 minutes after the polls closed, Marge the Trainwreck Green wins. We've got to see the DNC and the DCCC willing to go and put boots on the ground in these daggone areas and find somebody, sadly, probably a white man that has his head on straight, that's known in the community, that can defeat her. But the thing about it is the DCCC and the DNC need to be doing this. They gave Jamie Harrison $170 million to get beat by Lindsey Graham, and then they rewarded him with the DNC. And oh, by the way, if the daggone DNC, if the DNC was a football game, they would have fired his ass on the damn election night.
Well,
Scott, you had your hand raised.
Well, no, just, you know, that I'm a
He's the white guy with his head on.
Yeah. But, you know,
volunteering for service.
Rick, yeah, I am volunteering, and I'm gonna knock on doors and make phone calls for Richard in North Carolina. And luckily, we have Anderson Clayton here, who seems to have her head on straight as the head of the DNC. So I think maybe we'll be able to make even more progress. She's a wonderful asset.
I need people like you to reach out to her and let her know that, you know, I mean, they know that I'm going to run, you know, but, you know, I'm, you know, you can't call me a carpetbagger. I owned houses in Fayetteville for 20 years. I spent 16 of my 24 right there on Fort Bragg alone. So, you know, I've been here now for 3 years, and, you know, I see no other way. You know, we have a guy that literally does nothing but send things to your house. It says, you know, shut down the border, build a wall. If a person from Guatemala can walk to North Carolina and take my job, then I made some shitty decisions in life. It ain't got nothing to do with them, you know, but that's all he does. And he's not a veteran. My district is heavily saturated with veterans. And that's one of the things that I'm talking about when I say it's time for the DNC and the DCCC to start putting boots on the ground and finding people that relate to the majority of the people in the district so that we could possibly flip some seats to red to blue. And oh, by the way, everything that Donald Trump has done, you know, removing a cap that allowed elderly people to be able to afford their insulin at $35, I get to throw that right in that friggin' jackaloon's face when I run against him, because you supported on Donald Trump, you ran on Donald Trump, and now you own everything that friggin' orange stain does.
You know, I was just talking with a friend of mine whose prior service has gotten out and the life's not been that great for him, and he had voted for Trump, and he had no idea what was going on. And I'm talking to him, and he was almost in tears to hear that they're planning on cutting his benefits. He's like, I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to be homeless. I have nothing else to fall back on now. And just to see just how crushed he was, and to realize just how many people this is going to fuck over. It's astounding that they decided that this is their opening gambit. This is the move they want to make.
Let me tell you what my plan is. One of the things, there's a couple things that I'm going to run on, and one of them is I want to bring back the fairness doctrine. The fairness doctrine that Ronald Reagan got rid of required honesty in news media. And you know what? I cannot believe for 50 years nobody has said maybe we need to bring that back. You know, when you listen to Fox News, it's like I tell people, you do know Fox News had to pay $787 million because they got caught lying. And oh, by the way, you know, that right there is enough for you to say, I'm done. But once again, if all you do is watch Fox, OAN, and Newsmax, they don't tell you those things. And that's one of the reasons why we have to bring the fairness doctrine back that requires that. And what happens is okay, let's say we catch you in a lie. Okay, you're going to pay a serious fine. We catch you in a second lie. We're going to take you off the air for 6 months. We catch you in a third lie. You're done. You no longer get that capability. Why can't we do that? You know, why can't we completely do away with the cap on Social Security? Everybody tries to act like, oh, Social Security is not going to be there for any of y'all. If we move the cap from $124,000 just up to $250,000, Social Security would be there for our children. If we removed that cap completely and made people like Elon Musk and them pay into Social Security with every dollar that they make every year, we would be able to give cost of living increases every year to Social Security people. And once again, right now, what we have with the things that they're trying to do, the people that barely make it from month to month, they're already going after SNAP benefits. What are these people going to do? And if they take away Social Security, what's that going to do for the elderly? Social Security is meant to be something to help you bridge the gap from your retirement to make it to month. If you retired from a courthouse, folks, I don't know if you guys know about this, but if you work for your local courthouse at the county level and you spend 30 years there, you may walk away with the retirement of $1,400 a month. Yeah, well, you know, let that sink in. That's why Social Security is so important to these people, because hell, rent's $1,200.
Right.
Yep.
So these are just a few things that I want. And once again, I think, you know, that's why I need like North Carolina Scott there, you know, I'm going to need people. I'm going to need help. I'm going to need help because, you know, they're not going to just let me walk in here and take this. You know, believe it or not, I would have beat Carol Miller in West Virginia had Donald Trump not showed up and called me a stone cold crazy wacko.
I think it's safe to say whatever you need, you let us know.
Well, you know, I'm going to need to get as much. If you guys, when you're done here tonight, go on YouTube and type in Richard Ojeda campaign commercials. I mean, TYT did a whole entire episode on my commercials. My commercials were pretty awesome. And I got the same people, the same campaign team that I had in 2018. They're all back with me now. And we got a couple other people that are on board. One that actually ran Andrew Yang's campaign. So, you know, nice. we're serious about this. I'm ready to hit the ground running. I don't give two shits. I'm going to tell you right now, I'd rather friggin' throw punches than friggin' be nice to any of these assholes.
That's got me excited, though. How about you guys?
Yes,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Scott, are you in the same district as Richard?
There's a little bit of Harnett County in your district.
Yes, yeah. Yes. Well, look, you know, now this is what I really would like is as soon as we announce, like I'm on the Joe Galloway Foundation. Joe Galloway is the guy who wrote the book that became the movie We Were Soldiers. Joe Galloway died. He lives in Rockingham. He lived in Rockingham. And his wife has already, you know, told me that she's going to throw events for me. You know, that's crucial, is having people that will open their house and bring in locals that they know so that I can come and I can speak with these people. Those are going to be absolutely crucial because that's where I get to let these people know what I'm doing.
And Bob Etheridge lives here too.
Well, if he can help out, let's do it.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to talk about this, if we can if I can side note, getting active. You know, I mean, we're talking about boots on the ground, and
exactly where I was going.
And you know, back in 2019, I had enough and started going to protest with the family. We went and protested. And then decided that I had to get political. And so I joined the local Democratic Party, which is small in this county for sure. But I encourage people join up. You know, I mean, 2026 is going to be critical. You know, they need volunteers. You know, running is always a possibility, but volunteering is certainly a possibility. Can't get out of your house? You can make phone calls, you know, knock on doors, make financial contributions. But anyway, you know, we've got to get these boots on the ground. It enabled me in very red Harnett County to meet like-minded people, you know, and to be able to take a break from the MAGA around me. And, you know, at least, you know, once every while getting together with folks. We ran against people knowing that there's no way in hell that we would win, but we would not give them a walkover. We would not be on the ballot. So, you know, if you want to just put your name on a ballot, you know, it costs a little over $100 to file to run for most any office, and your name can just be on the ballot. You wouldn't even have to do any campaigning if you didn't want to. But you know, of course, we'd like to see people actually give it a try, and that's what I did. I went out in the community. I tamed my mohawk a little bit. I wore my baseball caps. I'm seventh generation around here. I went to the parades and threw candy and rode tractors and shit like that, you know, and I'm a thorn in their side. You know, I volunteer with the Chamber of Commerce and on their board, and they know me as the Democrat, but I'm the Democrat who's out there smiling, talking to people, shaking hands, and not afraid to share my opinion, much like you, Mr. Ojeda. I respect you completely.
Well, you know, some of the things that we need to do when we talk to these people in the Democratic Party here in the state, you know, let me tell you something. We need to right now start trying to find out who is above the age of 65 that now has to pay $400 to $500 a month for your insulin that you used to only pay $35 a month under Joe Biden. Because those people right there are prime folks for us to say, hey, this is what the Republican Party did against you. This is why you need to be back with the Democrats. This is why these are the people who matter the most. Every time Donald Trump does something that hurts people, you know, when they go after SNAP benefits, then we need to be the ones out there looking for all these people that have their SNAP benefits taken from them and saying, look, the Republicans did this to you. Don't let this guy, because once again, you know, these people are supposed to represent us. And what I'm seeing is we've got a guy that goes to Washington, D.C. He don't do jack shit for nobody. And then right about 6 months before the election, he shows back up here. And then he tries to say, hey, I vote for me. You know, we gotta find those people. We can turn every single person that loses their SNAP benefits, every single person that's in poverty, that's getting screwed over by these Republicans because they don't care about poor people at all, never have, never will. We got to get those people on our sides. And we can do that by educating them on, you know, they know they're losing their benefits. And when they lose them, we got to let them know that's the Republicans that did that to you. Because I'll tell you right now, if I'm successful, that's the kind of stuff that I automatically want to say, let's bring that back. Let's go ahead and I want to lower prescription drug costs, take it back to $35 for elderly. I mean, it should be for everybody. Anybody that's got diabetes should only have to pay $35. You know, we got to stop letting big pharma run the show. You know, I told people all the time when I ran for Congress, I'll physically throw big pharma out of my office.
I gotta say, it does touch on one of the biggest problems that apparently everybody outside the DNC can see, and I know it's something we've discussed on previous shows, is messaging. Is that the Democrats do not know how to get the message to emphasize this is what you lost with these guys. Here's what we're going to give you. Instead, it gets spun into arguments and nonsense, and it just we need someone who can cut through that.
Did you lose your $35 a month insulin cap? Make no mistake about it, we'll bring it back for you. It's that easy. It's that simple. You know, and
practical question, sir. So I'm telling people all the time, run locally, right? Because we know from Mr. Snyder himself with the book on tyranny, you can't allow for a single party system. This is what North Carolina is crawling to. With I don't even know really where they are with the judge. It seemed like they won and then they got it appealed again. But for both of you, actually, practically, what does it look like? How do you find that person who is over 65 and lost their $35 cap? How do you find that person?
We need a commercial.
Do you need?
We need a commercial. We need a commercial right now that goes across all of North Carolina. And every state should be doing this. That says, did you lose your $35 cap on insulin? If you did, call this number. And then once they call that number, we speak to them and tell them, okay, listen, you've lost that. We're going to do our best to try to get that back for you. But we can't get it unless we get back in office. That's how we got to do it. We've got to give people the ability. And did you lose your SNAP benefits? Call this number. Were you denied insurance because you got sick? Because that's what they're doing right now. They're setting the stage for insurance companies to be able to say, you paid into premiums for the last 30 years, but now you come down with cancer, and they're going to go, that's a little too expensive for us, so we're out. And that's the reason why, you're going to have people that are going to walking behind people and doing what they did. I mean, honestly, insurance companies aren't in the business to succeed if they always pay out. But once again, when they come to your house, they tell you, don't worry, we got you. But then you get a house fire. And then they're like, well, we have to depreciate everything because that TV wasn't brand new. So instead of getting the $400,000 that you signed up for, they may give you $200,000. But at the end of the day, if you got screwed over, call this number. We need a hotline. We need a North Carolina hotline to where if a person loses their SNAP benefits, if a person loses whatever it is, a hotline to call, and then we take those people and we start letting them know what we want to do. And that's how we get people to stop voting against their own damn self-interest. I was in West Virginia.
Let me write the notes down. Hold on, Major. Let me write the notes down. Now we're talking practical.
What kind of resources would be involved in something like that? Just setting up something like that to buy that much airtime.
Well, we run commercials for campaigns all the time. It's just a commercial. You just got to contact. And once again, I don't know if the Democrat, because they're the Democrat Party of North Carolina, I don't know if they have to. Candidates have to pay a little more. When you do a radio commercial, you actually are going to pay a little more than an average citizen will pay. But at the end of the day, we just have to basically get a phone number and make sure that we got people that can man these phones, so that we can have people calling in on them. We got plenty of volunteers, people that want to volunteer. They can volunteer like that. You can answer phones for people who call that says, I lost my SNAP benefits. All we need to do is get your number. And then we can hell, I'll call people. I'll pick up you let me know somebody lost their SNAP benefits. I'll be more than happy to pick up the phone and call them directly.
Boots on the ground. I know that I keep saying that, but you can get Excel spreadsheet lists of every fucking registered voter and their phone number for free, just like that. So you've got this bank of phone numbers right there. It's amazing, how cheaply you can do mass texting to people or phone calls. Go ahead, Richard.
I barely heard you. You were broken up the entire time you were talking.
Same for others.
No, I heard you.
Okay, clear on my end.
I didn't hear nothing that you said.
So boots on the ground. We got to knock on doors more. We got to go to these, health fairs. We got to go to senior citizen centers. We got to get out there and be visible. And then I'm in line kind of with Greg Palast put out some numbers today. Voter suppression is fucking real, and I agree with him that I think Harris lost because of voter suppression. So I think that we also need to put some efforts toward being able to make sure that votes count.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I'm announcing next month. This is February, February 2025. The reason why is because I want to make sure that I dedicate the next 2 years to trying to meet as many people as possible and educate as many people as possible. I don't have the luxury of waiting 6 months out before I throw my hat in the ring. I've got to run. Now, make no mistake about it. There was a guy that ran that's probably going to primary me. but I'm hoping that he'll see, you know, that what I'm doing is something that he would be more than willing to get on board with me. You know, there was a female major, retired major, who ran as an independent, got 5%. You know, I want to get her on my side. I want to get her working on my team, because at the end of the day, if they don't challenge me for a primary, that means I get to push everything over to the general, and that's when we're going to need it the most.
So, quick question. I'm sharing a screen from the Sons of Liberty Discord, and basically a couple of questions. How do we join Richard's campaign?
Okay, so by next month is when we are going to officially announce. But you can go to the turnleftpac.org, and you can, you know, you're not donating to me, but you know, you can support the Turn Left PAC. But once again, in February, in the middle of February, when I finally announce, then I've already got everything set up. My ActBlue account's already set up. Everything's done. You know, I'm just waiting for the ability to go down to the Capitol in Raleigh and sign the check and take the photo. As soon as that happens, then I need all hands on deck. You know, I've been talking to people. Look, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if all you do is send $5. It all matters. And you have to raise money. You know, I raised $3 million in West Virginia, and I almost won that race. But understand that Republicans don't need small dollar donations. The reason why the Republicans are doing every damn thing that the billionaires want them to do is because in elections, that's who they listen to. The Democrats are the ones that gets the small dollar donations from the local guy who sticks a $5 bill in a bucket. You know, because we understand that our job is to represent. When you win an election, your job isn't to go to Washington, D.C. and do all the shit that you want to do. It's to represent your people. And we have to let these people know that that's how this gets done. The Republicans don't represent you. They never have. They never will. We've got to absolutely get everybody involved. And look, if you don't have the money to donate, don't donate. But once again, like he said earlier, you can knock on doors. You can make phone calls. There's a lot of things that you can do, you know, and when election time gets here, you can work the polls. But, you know, we've got to get in this fight. We have allowed these people to absolutely almost take completely over. You know, when I was a senator in West Virginia, I was 12 Democrats to 22 Republicans. Now there's only 2 Democrat senators. Out of the 100 delegates in the state, there's only 9 Democrats. And let me tell you something. It's going to take 20 years for them to turn that around. We cannot allow that to happen in any other states. That's why we all have to get involved and fight for this. And let me tell you something. It doesn't take rocket scientists to see that Donald Trump don't care about you. He don't care about me. Donald Trump cares about these filthy rich people. I mean, look at what he's doing to people, you know, and I love it. And you know, the whole I gotcha. I'm going to show a video tonight of a young Latino girl that's in tears because she's worried that they're going to round her up. Well, of course, did you think that just because you voted for Donald Trump that he cares about you? You're light brown to dark brown. Donald Trump don't care about you, never has, never will. I mean, literally, that sink in. The guy literally, one of the first things he tried to do was do away with the teaching of the Tuskegee Airmen for the Air Force. What kind of garbage is that? Let me tell you something. Every time in our country, when people of color had the deck stacked against them, the Tuskegee Airmen, let me tell you something. And every single time they rose to the challenge and were victorious. You know, that's why they don't want people to know about that. That's why Donald Trump wants to cancel that shit out. But that's why we have to fight.
Yeah, we had an article out today on Trump's legal arguments trying to strip Native Americans of citizenship, to say that they're not worthy to stay here, that they could be deported.
Everybody's asking, where are you going to deport them to?
Yeah, I'm sure Trump's just going to go like, well, to India.
You know, let me tell you something. We are seeing bootlicker mentality unlike we've ever seen before. Yeah. I mean, it kind of reminds me like in West Virginia, every year there was some lazy delegate that never really pushed any legislation that would say, I'm going to push legislation to make the Bible the state book. Who gives a shit? Nobody reads it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't read it, you don't, that's just the way that it is.
Well, they're damn sure not living it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. Look, everybody took the time and listened. Everybody listened to that female bishop when she gave that speech, asking him to show mercy to the marginalized, to the people that are scared. And oh my goodness, it's like they're like attacking her, want her deported. I mean, that's what happens when you ask people like Donald Trump to show a little kindness. They
the
come
sin
at
of empathy.
Yeah. How dare she say something? And did you see them in the audience? Did you see Melania's face?
They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it.
They were mad. And oh, by the way, Eric Trump. Did you see the post that Eric Trump made?
Yeah. They got taken down.
Let me tell you something. Come on, Eric Trump. Come try to get some. Shit.
Hey, so I like this question that the scrutinizer has. He says, how does one or more find qualified people to run for office? And then I have a qualifier after that. What's the answer to that?
Okay.
By the people who've done it.
Okay. Well, look, at the end of the day, what you need to do is you need to find people in the community that are very well known. With me, I had spent so much time away from West Virginia, but there were some things that I was a part of with social media. When I was in Haiti, I started posting pictures because I wanted people to see what we were witnessing with the earthquake that happened. And, people started sending me stuff that I could hand out, like shoes. And then when I went to Afghanistan, the same thing. I started a daggone shoe drive, and people from the poorest place you could think of in West Virginia were sending me boxes of shoes. Now, a lot of them were used shoes, but then there were some that were new. And, over the course of a year, this saved my life. Let me tell you something. I don't know if you've been, Tim, to Afghanistan, but I worked on a 2-man team, and I would go out, and we would be an hour away from any military at all by ourselves. It was me. I had an NCO with me. I had a mechanic, and I had an interpreter. And, I'm going to tell you that I started sending pictures. We gave over 6,000 pairs of shoes over the course of that year. When we first got to Afghanistan, when we went on our first missions, I'm telling you, I drove through villages where people looked at us and did this with their thumb. And you can't shoot nobody for that. If they've had a gun, I could do it, but I couldn't for this. Let me tell you something. After we started stopping at the edge of their village, and I would scream, baksheesh, which is gift. These little kids would come running. We set them kids on the back of the truck. We'd take off their hair. 90% of the time, they'd be wearing like a flip-flop and a boot. Nobody had matching pairs of shoes over there. So we took those off, and we put new shoes on their feet, and then they ran back in. After about 2 or 3 times of doing things like that, then all of a sudden the village elder walked out with those kids and then invited us into their home and gave us food, treated us with kindness. And then when we drove through, those same people that did this were now smiling and waving at us. It saved our lives, but everybody got to watch that. So when I returned to West Virginia, I started a nonprofit, and everybody pretty much knew about me. And once again, when you're in some of the poorest areas in the country and you're putting shoes on kids' feet, people appreciate that. What we got to do is we got to find the people in the community. If there's a restaurant owner that knows everybody, that's your guy. If there's a person that let's say he's a very popular coach or something like that's got his head on straight, that's your guy. There's if you got like where I come from, West Virginia, coal miners. There is a few coal miners that are known by everybody. That's your guy. Find one of those guys. That's what you got to do. We've got to find people that the community can get behind. And make no mistake about it, we also have to educate at the same time. Because once again, if all these people are doing is watching Fox News, then they're not knowing what's really going on. The only way they realize that they've been screwed is when their SNAP benefits get cut, when their welfare gets taken, when their Social Security disappears. That's when we will have an easy time saying that's what they did. But we have to be ready to educate these people.
Okay, here's the second one, and I'm sorry to take up all of this, but ever since you were talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then we came back to this idea of Fox News. Here's the issue for me. That same person from somewhere else, say she's from Mexico, from Guatemala, and that same person who decided they were going to vote for Trump. The reason why they did it, I mean, where we are now is not like you in 2020, you, Major Ojeda in 2020, were able to change votes where you were, from MAGA to you. In those past 5 years, all of the people on the right have made so many little yeses, so many little agreements, so many small agreements with the devil that now I find it hard to believe or find a way. I don't want to not believe it, but I'm just telling you, the amount of agreements that they've had to make and that has changed and contorted their minds into believing that the person telling them that they want to throw them out when they get there, that called them a rapist as they were coming down the escalator, and they still think they can vote for them. The amount of agreements that they had to make this decision. Now, that person, do you really still believe you can get that person to change?
Yes.
And if so, how do you do it without stopping a Fox News? What is it? One Nation, one ONN, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They also got that too.
Yeah,
One America.
One America.
Let me tell you something. We're about ready to watch Smartmatic take another $787 million from Fox News. They've already said that they will not take a penny less than Dominion got, and that's going to be big news. And let's hope that's enough to daggone put Fox away. But regardless, you know, but every single thing that Donald Trump does and is doing, we have to be willing to throw that in their face. You know, there's no Latino, there's no Hispanic, you know, anybody, if they're still in this country when these 4 years are over with, or let's say 2 years, because we have to win 26. Let's say they're still here, then we should easily be able to let them know this is why you have to support us. I mean, these are the people that have already started deporting, you know, people that are Latino and Hispanic. You know, they're waking up. They're realizing that, holy shit, Donald Trump told us everything that we wanted to hear. And that's what we have to tell them. We got to tell them. We say, you know, he told you everything that you wanted to hear. But the moment that he got back in power, well, he stabbed you in the back. And that's a fact. You know, oh, by the way, the evangelicals can't even get him on the phone because he don't need them anymore. Donald Trump is absolutely as crooked as Gargamel's pecker. That's just the way the guy is. I apologize. I have that language.
Don't ever fucking apologize on this fucking channel.
Then we're good. Then we're good. Okay, but like that, you know, that video of that young girl crying because she's worried they're going to evict her, and she voted for Trump. Man, we got to show that. We got to show that. We got to let people see that. We got to make a commercial with that and say, listen here. See that? You see that? Donald Trump made you think that he was going to protect you. And now that he won, he don't give two shits. Only people Donald Trump cares about is billionaires. And those were the ones who had the first row in his inauguration.
Here's my question. When did he make them feel like he was going to protect them? That's the disconnect. At what point did he say, hey, Latinos, I'm here to protect you?
Well, here's the thing. This is the thing. He never gave his plans away. He never showed his cards. He made them think whatever you need, I've got. Well, I'll lower the price of groceries in the first day. I'll lower the price of gas. I'll stop the war in Ukraine. Donald Trump told them everything that they wanted to hear, and they believed him. But once again, a man who told over 30,000 verified lies in his first term, and now all of a sudden he's telling the truth. Let me tell you something. The real people in this country that should be absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, arrested are the Sean Hannitys. Those people that absolutely bring him on and give him softball questions, and they know he's dumb as a stump. Donald Trump is absolutely the dumbest man, the laziest man to ever occupy the chair. He probably can't spell White House. But once again, these people support him because they win with Donald Trump. They get to be the worst versions of themselves under Donald Trump. Let me tell you something. When these next 2 years are over with, I think most of the Republicans, I think the Republican members of Congress are going to realize that if they don't turn on Donald Trump and start taking up for the American people, ain't none of those assholes going to get reelected.
Yeah.
I mean, look. If you take people's Social Security, where they're going to be struggling now, why the hell would they want to vote for you again? But let me tell you something. They're coming after it. They're not lying to us. They're absolutely trying to come after it.
But I really worry that because of the real true cult mentality, that it's going to be very hard to convince any of these maggots that Trump and the regime that they're to blame for anything, because they can blame anybody and they'll fucking believe it.
Yeah,
I'm of the mindset where we need to start thinking about deprogramming fucking businesses, centers.
You need something that cuts through the programming, something that gets them, because everything is a house of cards, right? It's all predicated on Trump is always right, Trump always wins. If anything bad happens, it's somehow magically convoluted to be those people or this guy over here, or you need something that is just so jarring.
People don't like to admit when they're wrong.
They don't like it.
You need something that even
these people are getting pissed on their back and they're turning around with their mouths open. There is what you're saying about the what's jarring. I don't think there's anything. Those little agreements that they've had to make have turned enough of them into something that is unrecognizable. They're looking at somebody do a Heil Hitler on national television.
Yes.
And they're like, no, he's just autistic. Please.
Yeah, they're making excuses for it.
Yeah.
Right. The best thing that you have going for you is how to get out those people who are hurting. The only thing that will win is this guy hurting them constantly, continuously.
Yeah.
Now, that Latino lady who's crying, there is nothing you can tell her, ever told her. Donald Trump could tell her right now, you're dirty and I'm sending you home. Tell you where you came from. And she would go, he didn't mean it. Until she starts crying. So the best thing we have going for us is that he's going to actually do the nasty, disgusting things he's going to do. And we can get those phone calls. We can do those phone banks. We can now bring up those. That's why the best question that I've seen on here was, how do we find those people? Because now that we can actually get those are the only people who will change when they feel it. My dad used to say, if you can't hear, you must feel, from Jamaica. Right?
Yep.
So if you're not going to listen, you get a spanking.
Here
it is. Fafo.
You're right. But I mean, the things that they want to do, when they come after our military benefits, there's not one daggone person that draws benefits that's going to be acceptable of that. Right. That's a fact. And once again, sticking Pete Hegseth as the Secretary of Defense, that was the worst decision on the face that's ever took place. I mean, this guy, no offense, he did his time in the National Guard. And once again, I'm not throwing stones at National Guardsmen, because if it wasn't for the National Guard, us active duty folks would have never come home, But I'm going to tell you, this guy is not the one. Normally, a person that takes that role is a retired admiral or general with 40 years. Look at General Lloyd Austin's resume. He was actually a commander in the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment as a brigade combat team. And I'm telling you, he is a leader. He is a leader. Pete Hegseth is not. He don't know what he's doing. And I don't think it's going to last very long. And once again, what we just recently saw with the Air Force pushing back, saying, I'm sorry, but we're not going to remove the Tuskegee Airman education from our curriculum. Well, that's not going to happen. That's what we need. We need more general officers that are willing to stand together and say, we're not going to let you destroy our military. Make no mistake about it. The one thing that Pete Hegseth is going to try to do for Donald Trump is give Donald Trump his dictatorship parade. And I guarantee you Donald Trump's going to try to get him to do one of those things, down the street in Washington, D.C., because that's the kind of person that he is. But let me tell you something. Everybody If they take your SNAP benefits, if they have removed your cap from insulin, we got to start finding these people. That's why it's important for us to do something, get together, put our heads together, figure out how we can man a call center where we are getting where we're getting calls from people that this is happening to, because that's how we have to let these people know. If we are successful, we're going to bring those things back. If we're successful, I want to remove the cap off of Social Security, so Social Security will be here for everybody for the rest of our lives, for our children's lives. And we can do that if we have anybody that's got the balls to remove the fucking cap. There are things that we can do as long as we got the balls to do it. When I become a senator in West Virginia, even the Democrats told me, do not push medical cannabis. And I was like, fuck you. This helps people with PTSD. Let me tell you, I got 13 dog tags right there. And when I gave my final speech on the last day of the legislative session, I held up those 13 tags. And I said, cannabis will not bring these people back, but cannabis will help those people that hear their screams and see their faces when they go to sleep at night. And when I was done with my speech, at least 5 Republicans stood up and said, we wasn't going to vote for that, but because what you said, now we are. And we made it pass. We got medical cannabis passed in West Virginia. You got to be willing to fight those battles.
Quick question from the audience. Does the major have an APAIC rep?
Nope.
The answer is no, Brad.
Poor Brad's been waiting so long.
Yeah. There might be a follow-up question to that later.
That's fine. I understand. But at the end of the day, I'm not happy with nobody over there. I'm not happy with anybody over there. And I'm not crawling in bed with nobody.
Yeah, I'll tell you, here in Florida, our big concerns, of course, are him, taking apart FEMA. And then I'm thinking where you guys are at in North Carolina, you've got to be feeling some of that heat now too, because my God, what everybody went through has been horrific for the whole state.
Yeah, well, and once again, it's a lot of bullshit that people don't know. Let me tell you something. There was a lot of funding, a lot of stuff that was done down there. FEMA did a phenomenal job. Joe Biden released $1.65 billion. They did rental assistance, everything. So that was a bunch of bullshit what people were saying.
Right.
But let me tell you something. FEMA, as a person who has actually worked disasters when I had my nonprofit in West Virginia, let me tell you something. FEMA does the work. FEMA shows up and does the work. And
they were
to
here
vilify
doing the same work.
Yes, to vilify them is not going to benefit Donald Trump. The next time we have us a disaster and there's no FEMA, let me tell you something. People are going to be like, what are we going to do? Because there's going to be nobody that's going to be there. And let me tell you something. Red Cross will show up, but Red Cross shows up, and I don't give a shit. Red Cross shows up and says, where's all the money going to go? I want people that put boots on the ground and work to help people. And that's what FEMA does.
But Trump, when he wanted to put conditions, or he wants to put conditions on California for getting funding and other states. And when asked about North Carolina, he was here a couple days ago. He says, "No, North Carolina's good. We give money." I mean, playing politics with disaster relief is playing politics with people's fucking lives.
You do realize
it's gross. It's gross.
But you do realize that he just now did the first impeachable act of his second term, because he was impeached the first time because he was going to withhold aid from Ukraine unless they gave him dirt on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. So him looking at daggone Gavin Newsom and saying, I'm going to withhold aid until you do this, this, and this, is the same damn thing. But right now, we don't have nobody with the balls in the House and in the Senate to do it. But that's why we have to win in 2026.
The people that I'm becoming most angry with has been the Republicans that are allowing it to happen. Who have allowed this to happen. And
we need to go after the
people that made the Tuskegee Airmen lessons come back were Republicans who claimed They didn't know that Trump would do things like
I
this.
prayed for you.
And I've seen multiple stories with people like Susan Collins who are apparently totally clueless and don't pay attention because he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do.
You're right. But let me tell you something. In 2 years, I believe that every person of color in this country is going to absolutely know that Donald Trump is the most racist person to ever occupy the chair.
It would be
and it kills me when I saw those Latinos for Trump. And I said it many times. Do you honestly think that Donald Trump is going to give you a pass? No, he wants he said it. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. That's all it was. Donald Trump got your votes. And now that he's got your votes, he doesn't care. And I'll tell you right now, go ahead, let him run for a third term and let Obama run for a third term too. Obama will stomp him like a narc at a biker rally.
I'm in Texas, so things are going to be quite interesting.
Well, it's going to be tough. I'm telling you right now, fruits and vegetables are going to go through the roof. Eggs are already at the highest point they've ever been. Look, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm retired. I got my disability. I still work. I do videos. I do social media. I'm going to be fine. But a lot of people that I know aren't going to make it if this continues down this path.
It's absolutely true. And those were people who said that they needed help and they thought he was going to be the one to help them. So
they thought.
And if this avian bird flu is something, other than normal, we're not getting any information about it because he's put the kibosh on DHHS information.
That's right. So when people start dropping dead, when it transitions from the birds to humans and people start dropping dead, we're going to see the same thing that we saw with COVID. Donald Trump tried to monetize COVID. Donald Trump first tried to push hydroxychloroquine. That's the shit that we took in Haiti and in Afghanistan, malaria pills. But because he had some stock in it, he wanted to try to get money off that first.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did, they've already come out and said that he is absolutely guilty. Over 765,000 American deaths came because of his mishandling of the situation. So let that sink in. All those people that lost loved ones, it's because of him. It's because he was too busy trying to monetize it because all he cares about is money. And that's why his main people that he's putting in these positions are billionaires. If you think for 1 second that Linda McMahon, the owner of the World Wrestling freaking garbage, if you think that she gives a shit about public education, you're dumb as a damn stump. They're going to do away with public education. It's going to be all charter schools. And oh, by the way, poor people won't be able to afford charter schools, so they're going to have to rely on public education. Public education is going to be so bad that it's going to be basically nothing more than a babysitting service. And oh, by the way, people that aren't educated are easily duped. That's another reason why they did away with the daggone fairness doctrine and started attacking education in this country. We are now seeing the ramifications of what happens when you attack education for 50 friggin' years. We've got to turn shit around in this country. And it ain't going to happen with these friggin' bootlickers. And they're bootlickers. That's all they are.
Absolutely.
As unfortunate as it is, a lot of the Democrats folded the minute they had the chance on the Laken Riley Act. The minute they had the chance, even I hate to say it, Raphael Warnock, who was a champion in Georgia,
and John Ossoff,
and
Fetterman.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of. There's like 12 of them.
Fetterman is the reason why. John Fetterman is the reason why Pete Hegseth is now in power. If he would have voted, we would have been able to beat it. It would have been 51-49, I guess. But I mean, think about that. John Fetterman, goodness gracious.
The guy in the sweatshirt, the guy who was, it's hard to fathom. It's hard. This is why it turns into a contact sport in West Virginia because
when you try to think, well, maybe if I vote with them, then maybe they'll hook me up and they'll let me blah, blah, blah. It never works like that. It never works like that. They don't care. They got your vote. They're going to do what they're going to do. And let me tell you something. He's responsible for this. I'm going to tell you another thing, too. I'll say this. Joe Biden will have a dark stain on his administration And the reason for that's because he allowed Merrick Garland to drag his feet for 4 damn years. I don't understand. You know, I would have said after the first 12 months, Merrick, if you got 6 months to prosecute these friggin' people, but they did. He allowed Merrick Garland to drag his feet. Merrick Garland's the biggest damn disappointment that we've ever seen in this country. He's the reason why that we're in a situation that we are. It's absolutely sickening. And Merrick Garland did this. He's the worst daggone attorney general ever.
Definitely.
Agreed.
Absolutely. And honestly, it's I'm up in PA, so I see that firsthand the effect of the politics here, and the whole Fetterman thing has
you let him know. You let Fetterman know to go fuck himself.
Oh, I plan to. I plan to. I'll drive over there later.
So, quick question. So let's say that we have people in the fam of liberty, or just people in general who might be watching this. Let's say that we want to start getting people involved in running for office, whether it's local office or whatnot. What are the steps that they need to take in order to do that?
Well, first off, you gotta find these people. You know, people have to get together. There's a Democratic, organization in every single, other than places like West Virginia, they're probably gone now. But I mean, for the most part, there's Democrat, parties. You gotta start the work. You got to start, reaching out, finding people. And like I said, if you grew up in a community, you pretty much know who are the best people. I'm not going to say who's the most powerful, because usually those are the corrupt politicians. But I will tell you that where I come from in Logan, West Virginia, we had a guy that ran a gas station. His name was John Turner. And you know what? Everybody knew John Turner. And John Turner was a fair man. He was a good man. John Turner's the kind of guy that would show up if anybody needed something. He was that guy. Well, guess what? We decided, hey, John, why don't you run for county clerk? And John ran, and John won. And John has been the county clerk now for probably 12 years, and he's a phenomenal person. He's the one guy that daggone has held the line in West Virginia as a Democrat. And that's it. He was a guy that owned a gas station. And everybody went to that gas station because he was a good guy. That's the people that you got to convince to throw their hat in the ring. And a lot of people will say, I don't want to get involved in politics. Look, if you don't get involved in politics, make no mistake about it, somebody will that will not have your best interest at heart. When we've got these Republicans that are up there right now voting in favor of anything and everything that Donald Trump wants. Number one, they're chicken shit cowards. Because Donald Trump is hurting their constituents, and they don't have the friggin' backbone to stand up to Donald Trump. So that's what we have to throw in their face. And we've got to find people. Look, I'm running. And I'm going to tell you, if it don't bother me, I think that lobbyists should have to wear body cameras if they are on the property of state houses and our Capitol. And if they're body camera, if we make police wear them, why can't we make lobbyists wear them? And if you're caught with your body camera off, you're done. You're out. You're no longer a lobbyist. You lose your qualifications. These are the kind of things that we need people talking about. Because let me tell you something. If lobbyists had to wear body cameras and they knew that you were watching, your representatives would be far less likely to sell you out if they knew you were watching. And that's a fact.
Speaking of our representatives be willing to sell us out, we have all these pardons from Trump to all of his little minions. Everybody who did violence for him, everybody who does crimes for him, sending that message out there that the political violence is okay, that everything's going to be excused. It's got a lot of people concerned.
Yeah, as long as you break the law for Donald Trump, he's got your back. But then again, let me tell you something. Now the Fraternal Order of Police and a couple other police unions that backed that orange stain, they're not too happy now, are they?
Yeah.
They're not too, because once Donald Trump gets your vote, he don't need you anymore. Right. So, that's where we're at. Look, at the end of the day, this is going to be a fight. And you know what? We got to find people that are willing to get out there and fight that battle. And they are good people out there. There are some damn good people out there. We just got to find the right people. You've got to be willing to go to certain areas and say, look, this is an area that a person of color cannot win in because of racism. And that's all it is. And it's a horrible thing. But we have to realize that there's no way we can win that. We've got to find somebody like a gas station attendant that everybody knows in Marcia Trainwreck Green's district that can speak to people, that absolutely has intelligence between their ears, and she can be defeated. She can be defeated.
And I'd pay to see that.
Yeah. You know,
Same.
I mean, Lauren Boebert, she should have been defeated. Carol Miller, the one who beat me. Carol Miller is just won her 4th term in West Virginia. She has never brought a penny back to that state. The only money she's brought back was to her. She got a $3.1 million PPP loan that was forgiven. So that's the only thing she's done. She's pushed no legislation. And all she does is she looks into the camera and says, I'll do whatever Donald Trump wants. And 2 months before the election, she goes to all the churches and she sings in their choir. And these people fall for that bullshit. Let me tell you something. If you've got a representative that's been in office for more than 6 years and you haven't seen them on the television throwing stones at people, fighting on the damn floor, then replace them, because they're just drawing a paycheck and acting like they're doing shit. I mean, right now, look, Donald Trump just cut $6 to $8 billion from the West Virginia infrastructure. Oh, by the way, Donald Trump just did that. He shut down the infrastructure. So let that sink in. That was money that every state in this country was needing gratefully, and Donald Trump has took that away. So congratulations. So your potholes are going to get worse now because of Donald Trump. Good.
Not to mention major projects that are getting ignored that have been needed for decades because, just fuck you. It just for no other reason. Approved bipartisan legislation that was benefiting all Americans, but, you had to kind of because the last guy did it.
Scott, what you got? You had your hand up for a second.
Yeah, Richard, you are super qualified to run for, congressional, presidential, if you ask me. But I want to talk about running more locally to the family here too, because like you noted, there are these town clerk, board of ed positions, county commissioner positions. And what do you call qualified? Qualified is being able to just read, understand, and use a little bit of reasoning. You have to be a commissioner once. You're not born a commissioner. You're not born into this. So it's a first time for everybody. So, you really just have to be able to digest information. A lot of these positions, there are training programs built into the works that, prep you for going into these roles. There are manuals and things of that nature. So don't let it be, too intimidating to think about running on a budget. Like in North Carolina, if you run under $1,000, you're not going to spend more than $1,000. And that's what I did. Your reporting requirements financially are next to nothing. It takes a lot of stress if you're not going to invest a lot into a campaign. So just, if you're in North Carolina, get on Discord, reach out to me.
No matter what, when I'm campaigning, when I go to these places, like I got a good friend of mine that's actually going to run for the state house in North Carolina. And remember, our districts are pretty saturated with veterans. Well, everywhere, every time he's campaigning, he's going to be also campaigning for me. And when I'm in his district, I'm going to campaign for him. You got to campaign for those damn ballot races. And here's the thing. You know what? Board of Education. This is what drives me crazy. I know people that are on the Board of Education that, hell, do they have to have a high school diploma? But I'm going to tell you, why don't we find a solid teacher that has retired from education? Because let me tell you something, every teacher, by the time they retire, almost every single teacher will have a master's degree plus another, like in West Virginia, I spent 4 years in a classroom when I retired. Every single teacher had a master's degree plus an additional 48 hours of instruction. They are highly qualified. But once again, who's on the Board of Education? Yeah, really? Why not find the teachers out there that have retired that care about these kids and put them in those positions? They should win. They're ex-teachers and they care about these kids. Isn't that the people that we want on the Board of Education that will fight to make sure that these kids get the best education that they can possibly get? Don't just give it to somebody because they're bored and want a position. I come from a place where that's how it is. They're going so-and-so's nephew, he can't get a damn job because he don't have an education, but he can run for office and they'll get everybody behind him. There's people in positions in West Virginia I don't even think can read and write. But that's where it is. We can find these people, down ballot candidates, the local races. That's where you feel those. There's no way you can tell me that you can't find a few teachers that would be willing to throw their hat in the ring and run for Board of Education. Because who else should be able to they have the ability to look at the people and say, hey, I spent 40 years in the classroom. I know exactly what needs fixed because I've been in the classroom. I know exactly the problems that we face today and how we could solve them. And then that's what we got. Then you got people in the Board of Education that give a shit about the kids. And that's where we need to be.
And the great thing about teachers is they'll get the administration the hell out of the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, let me tell you
They're
something.
so tired of dealing with the administration.
Believe it or not, the teacher strike that took place in 2018, it was my speech that started that. And I will tell you, I gave a speech because, once again, I spent 4 years in the classroom. So every day at lunchtime, I'm sitting with a bunch of teachers, and all they do is bitch about the insurance, and it was horrible. They had a thing called Go 365 they were trying to make the teachers do. The teachers were going to have to buy iPhones out of their pockets, and then they would have to put their measurements, your chest size, your hip size, your weight, all that shit. And teachers are working their ass off. They don't have time for that shit. But that's what they were trying to push. Right. And I'm telling you, I stood up and I gave a speech and said, look, you guys are continuing to do this to these teachers. Don't think for a second that they're not talking the S word. S as strike. And I left there and I got home and I got a phone call from Mingo County. They said, hey, we want you to come over here. Mingo was one of my counties in my district. So I jumped in my car. I drove there. I got there, every single teacher and school service personnel. And don't ever forget school service personnel, because a school can't run without a cafeteria. They can't run without custodians, the secretaries and special needs for the kids, all that stuff. So I get there and holy shit, man, they're all there. And then there were other unions that were sitting there. And a guy from the United Mine Workers of America stood up and said, look, if you guys want to do this, everybody's got to commit. And when I left that meeting that night, I said, holy shit, tomorrow morning, Mingo County's going on strike. The next morning, Mingo County was on strike. 4 days later, all 55 counties were on strike. We had 28,000 teachers in that capital. They were singing Twisted Sister, we're not going to take it. And I'm telling you right now, the Republicans were so damn pissed off at me. But the best part about it was when you walked outside that Capitol on the main steps, you didn't just see 28,000 teachers. You saw the United Mine Workers of America. You saw the Communication Workers of America. You saw the daggone International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. You saw every union. And that's how we won that fight, because the Republicans realized that they ain't just fighting the teachers. They're fighting every single union and union rep in the damn state. And they knew that they would be in a world of hurt. And we won that fight.
That's awesome.
So let's say that just some random guy, just maybe he's a YouTube person that has a small following on YouTube. Let's say he wants to run for office, but he has no political experience, hates politics, probably the same as you when you were first starting out. How does that guy or girl or non-binary person, whatever, let's say they're going to run as, on a populist campaign for the Democratic Party or even Republican Party, we'll just throw them in there, to make it equitable. How do they get started? Like, let's say they want to run for, I don't know, state, like a state level position.
Okay. So remember, I ran the first time because a guy, like I said, threatened my father. So let me tell you, the first day when I was a senator, I'm sitting in my office and no shit. I'm sitting in my office, in my desk. I'm a senator now. And I thought to myself, how the hell do I Senate? I had no damn clue. Didn't know jack shit. Because once again, I ran against a guy that was a complete friggin' jackaloon. So that's what it was. But, I'm going to tell you that if you want to run for office and if you have a social media following, and it can be just a local social media following, doesn't matter. You need to capitalize on that. You need to let people know you're going to run for office, but you also need to do some legwork. You need to be paying attention. You need to be doing some research about being a local, senator, a state senator, or whatever it is, Board of Education. You know, there are plenty of things that you can go online and get education on. You know, what are the requirements of this office? So you have to learn that stuff. But the social media thing is absolutely crucial. But then it's also like what I talked about with Scott. You know, the moment that I say that I'm running and I announce next month, what I need is people to say, hey, come to our house. I want you to come to my house next week. I'm going to have all of my family members and some of my neighbors over here, and we're going to just listen to what you have to say, because that's how you do it. That's how you start building your momentum.
Yes.
You go to that house, you look at those people, you speak. Let me tell you something. When I was running for Congress, I went to San Francisco, California, and I gave a speech in front of all these people. When I was done, I ended up being the top money getter there. And I had people come up to me and tell me, you know what, you make me think that coal is actually a good thing. And the reason for that was because I was telling them that, look, you know, coal is a job that is going out. It's on its way out. But before we allow it to go on its way out, what we need to bring capabilities into West Virginia so those coal miners can transition to decent jobs where they can still feed their families. And when you put it like that, people start going, hey, you know, he's right. He's right. Don't hate the coal miner, because that's the only damn job in Southern West Virginia that you can do, that you can actually keep your nose above the water line. It's not a good job, and it's a horrible hours, and the bosses don't give two shits about you. But that's all they got. You know, when you go to these people, you start speaking, you've got to make sure that you know what you're talking about. And a lot of times, if it's passion, that's the best way. If you're passionate about what you're doing, people will pick up on that. If you're just going there and you're basically saying the damn words, they can pick up on that too. I will tell you this. I was in Washington, D.C. with two other people. We were going the circuit. We had all these damn unions. It was like Union Week in Washington, D.C. And we went to the IBEW, the steel workers, the iron workers. We did all that. They actually pulled me to the side and told me that I needed to kind of ease up on the fired upness, because the other guys, they couldn't fire people up. You know, I had people fired up because that's how I am. You know, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm that guy. I am that guy. You know, if it means throwing punches, then fuck it, man. Let's get to it. You know, at the end of the day, this is important, and it's at the point where we're almost at that point where we may have to start throwing punches. So, you know, be ready.
That's why I think Tim and Doug would both be good at this.
No, see, here's what would happen. I would announce my candidacy, and then every single local and national like news agency would start digging into my past, and I would spend my entire candidacy talking about, just to get ahead of the controversies, like, oh, he had a three-way, and I would like spend my entire fucking candidacy not talking about the issues because I'm too busy trying to be like, yes, I have a past.
No, let me
I've
tell you
smoked
something.
weed.
let me tell you something. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. The past is the past. You know, I guarantee you that my opponent is going to go through my social media, and they're going to put together a daggone post to me just saying the F word. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. You know what? You goddamn right, I'm pissed off. And you know what? I'm fucking pissed off because of what I'm seeing. So that's why I'm in this fight. They're going to always try to go after you. They're going to tell, oh, Richard Ojeda got a guy fired in West Virginia. I didn't get him fired. You know, he got fired because he was in a company vehicle taking a video of me. Now, how did he know that I was going to pass him? How did he know that I was going to pass him on a double line? Because they were messing with me. You understand? You ever be behind somebody, they're brake checking you, and you're like, fuck these guys? I knew that they didn't like me. And that's what they were doing. So when I passed, he had the camera ready. You know, the biggest mistake that I made is I went live on social media and said, I'm going to call you goddamn boss, because if I would have gotten a car crash with your ass, then friggin' your boss would be the one that would have to pay for this shit. So I called the next morning, but I didn't call to get him fired. I did call because I wanted him to know about the situation. And he said, Mr. Ojeda, he said, Senator Ojeda, I've already saw the video. It's a done deal. You know, this is something that I've been dealing with for a while. And that was it. But they're going to say that I got him fired. Look, it is what it is. I'm going to fight this battle. The guy that I'm running against don't do jack shit for the people in my district, in my state. So I'm going to run against him. There's not one damn person that will fight for veterans' health care more than a veteran. That is an absolute fact. And this area is saturated with veterans. Who do you want representing you? Would you rather have a veteran representing you or somebody that daggone will take a picture with you? But once again, what has he done for you? What has he done while he's been in office that has benefit veterans? Because I guarantee it's very, very little.
I got to get off of here. I wanted to say one more thing. Yeah, if you want to run locally, get involved with the Democratic Party. It's a two-party system for now. Find out what you can run for, because where you are in a county is going to depend on what you can run for. Find out what's coming up in 26 if they need you to run, and if you don't want to run, at least you can find out who's running and get behind them, help them phone bank, help them knock on doors, and you're meeting people and you're educating people and you're stopping the suppression of votes. Get out there, people, and know that there's other people like you. Like, even if you're surrounded by MAGA like I am, there are people like me around me. They're just scared and they stay in the shadows.
Yep.
Scott.
Or if your local candidate is a limp dick that's just like, primary that motherfucker.
So this is what I had it right here waiting. Scott, you have opened it up for me. I was going to read this paragraph. So there's people that come on Political Drain, the other channel, and I'm like, yo, you got to run locally. You got to run locally. And I have like these two little paragraphs that I'm more than that, but these ones that I send out to get them started, to make them feel not alone. And I'm going to read this. I want both of you, the experienced people, to tell me, is it bullshit or is it not? And you basically answered one of them. Here's the first one. The first thing you have to find out for all of you is what offices in your community are coming up for elections. Who are the candidates in those offices, and how long do you have to prepare? This is whether or not you even want to run for the office. The idea is that you have to leave nothing on the table. And even if you cannot run for the position immediately, your job is to make yourself available to the campaigns that you believe in, because these will become the allies and the vouchers you'll need again when the time comes. That's paragraph 1. Bullshit? No.
No. That's good. That's good. That's one of the reasons why I'm announcing in February. Most people would wait until the following year, like January. You have until I think April of January of 2026 to even. No, that's when the okay. No, you have to file like in January 2026. I'm doing it almost a year early. And let me tell you something. I'm going to file and I'm going to hit the ground running. Let me tell you something. I look at this like a military operation. I'll sleep under a damn bridge. I don't care, but that's why I want to get out there now. I need people like Scott to start reaching out to people that he knows that's in my district that says, hey, will you throw an event for him? And then I'll start doing that. That's what it is. I'm going to make sure that by the time the election gets here, every damn body in North Carolina in the 9th Congressional District is going to know who the hell Richard Ojeda is.
And so will the SOL team. Sorry, go ahead.
I love your family. Bye.
All right.
See you, Scott. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you again, Scott.
All right. And this is the second one. And this really goes to what you were talking about, throwing those events in the home. Every one of you needs at least 3 people in your immediate circle, family or friends, to meet with, tell about your plans, and agree to your decision. These will be the people who become your circle of trust, as well as the beginning of a ground game. Literally 3 people with flyers and ideas and a car and help and etc. And a united purpose will be the difference between 100 people knowing your name and 10,000 people knowing your name. Bullshit or no?
No, it's true. But here's the thing too. Imagine, let's say you live in a neighborhood that has 30 people. Then that's not a long list of people that you've got to go knock on doors and have conversations with. You may already know that these 3 people here are hardline friggin' Republicans. But once again, if things keep going the way they're going with Donald Trump, in 2 years they may not be so hardline. But that's why it's important to get to meet everybody in your community, and then you start trying to introduce. Hey, I'm going to have an event with Richard Ojeda, so you guys come on and let's get on board with this. How do you support or encourage the people who feel totally exhausted from the politics? Look, that's the way that you support and encourage them is look at what's going on. Every time that Donald Trump does something that hurts people, you got to right now look and say, hey, who out there lost their $35 cap on insulin? Because those people right there, they need to be in your circle. You need to start having conversations with them, because at the end of the day, that's how it gets. You've got to get as many people as possible on board. And if we start now, we've got a good chance. And every time Donald Trump does something, we throw that shit up in their face. We absolutely make them own this. You know, when our military when they take our benefits, make no mistake about it, I'm going to go after these assholes for that shit. And I'm going to throw it in their faces. Guys, I actually go live in a few minutes myself. Let me tell you, I'd love to come back on here again and often if possible, because I enjoy it. I love talking about politics. And anytime I get to hang out and speak to fellow veterans, I'm always on board with that. But for everybody, Ojeda Live on YouTube and Facebook every night, 7 days a week, 8:30 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And follow the Turn Left Pack. Follow it on anything out there. Turn Left Pack. We're going to be, we got some pretty good merch too. You might want to check it out. So, guys, I'm Sarge. Thanks, brother.
We find that on your Facebook page. Like you go live right on Facebook, or is that?
I go live right on Ojeda Live. That's the name of the page, and it's also Ojeda Live on YouTube. It's going to start in 6 minutes, and hop on. The more, the merrier.
And thank you for being here.
Plus, I got some shit to say.
We'll go ahead and end our live stream here in a couple minutes. Then.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Major.
Thank you, Major.
All right, fam of Liberty.
Woo! I'm fired up.
Holy shit. Fuck yeah.
We got to get him on again. We definitely got to get him on again.
He lives down the street from me. So
where's the round from? Let's go.
Right?
Hurry up.
That was a high energy. I didn't have to do anything except sit here and drink.
Best job ever.
I know, right? All right. So
hurry up.
So we typically do these live streams infrequently. I think Admin B has a plan to try to do some live stream podcasts. We've talked about D&D, which upset a couple of people. They're like, oh, but the brand dilution. You don't talk about politics 24/7. Like, motherfucker, do you think we live politics 24/7? No, we need a goddamn sanity break. People were getting mad that like Big Sarge videos were like talking about fucking the kink community and D&D and nerd shit. And holy fuck. Yeah, man. It was insane. They were like, I'm concerned about the brand dilution.
What?
Yeah. Anyway, we'll try to keep things quasi-politically, but no, we won't. Every now and then on live stream, I'm just gonna like live stream, pull out the guitar, and be like, "Fuck you."
One of the best things I saw was you making that drink. I think you did it like twice, and to me, I was like, "Now we're talking." I was like, "Now we're talking."
I got a couple more of those videos that I can post up. I haven't. Yeah, like so. Years back, I wanted to interview Marcus Flowers. He was running against Marjorie Trader Green, and we just couldn't make that work. And Richard mentioned that guy, so I definitely want to do that. My dream is to interview either Bernie Sanders or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I would just I would retire after that. I would be like, I'm done. This peak.
Period. There's Mikey.
There's Mike. Yeah,
I would just want to say,
read up in the comments if I don't have Mike in there.
In reference to what Thelma here had said, that the playbook that Trump is running from is to exhaust you. There's a reason that they're throwing things they want and things that are just outrageous bullshit out there. It's to tire you out. It's to grind you down. Same with hitting the running back in between the tackle and the center over and over again to wear the defense out. Because that's what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to wear us down so when they get to the shit they really want to do, the real nasty shit, we're too exhausted and too divided to put up any resistance. And it's going to be a grind. It's going to be a fucking
100%.
slog all the way through to the end. And we are going to have to do just everything we can to delay them, to defend our country, and to tie them up in as much legislative bullshit as we can.
Let's remember this, though. That's exactly, so if I can say this for you, Big Sarge, that's exactly why you have the drinks menu. That's exactly why you have the kink video, because you also have to stay emotionally and mentally aware whilst going through this grind, people, because it's not easy. I've been doing it for a long time, and I can tell you, my wife may not be happy all the time, and I have to make sure that, you know, I put it down. You got to put it down when it's necessary, because guess what? You have to be mentally and emotionally prepared, and you cannot just all the time do this if you're not aware of how you're feeling about this stuff. So yes, Big Sarge, continue with that stuff. Don't be afraid to do that stuff, because it's necessary, because it will be a grind, and it's not ending tomorrow. It's not ending next year. Guess what? It's not ending in the year after that. If Richard Ojeda gets in, if Major Retired Richard Ojeda gets in, it's not ending the year after that either, nor the year after that. When you realize that this continues, the fight continues. It's been going since the 60s, since the 50s, since the 40s. Every generation has their part to play. It will never end. So you have to be able to realize that. Get ready for the fight, people. Get ready for the fight. It's long. Take a break. Play some drums. Drink some juice.
Man, I fucking wish I had known you when I lived in the Atlanta area. I would be like, let's. So my whole thing is like, Rage Against the Machine was like a big fucking deal when I was like a teenager and a young adult and shit. And then, like, where the fuck were these guys in 2016? Where was we didn't even have like protest folk. We didn't have protest folk. We didn't have like punk rock. We didn't have Rage Against the Machine. And then like Donald Trump's first term ends, and it's like, okay, we got the safe old white guy with, you know, obviously there was a COVID pandemic or whatever, but the fucking Rage Against the Machine was like, we're gonna come out and go on tour. It's like, where the fuck were you for 4 years? Now we're back at that point. Like, where's all the fucking exactly? Where's all the fucking angry punk rockers, the metals, even the fucking angry folk people that are gonna like throw patchouli at you and shit? Like, where's our protest music?
I'll tell you what's so sad, man. Go ahead. So what's so sad is hip hop used to be that Public Enemy, okay, and with Attitude. I won't do that to you guys. I won't make you guys have to. But
do it. Fuck it. What are they gonna do? Throw us off the air?
Right? But the whole deal is, when you see people like Nelly and Snoop Dogg, they're performing with the guy.
Right.
It's where are you guys? Where are we, people? Like musicians. This is your time. This is when you shine. This is when the artist shine. This is when the painter and the poet shines. This is when we go out there and smash guitars into giant speakers and make the manager pay for it. This is the time for that right now. So you're 100% right on that. And to see the heroes in one of the most abrasive music since punk, which is hip hop, turn into what it's turned into. They're not like us, man. They're not like us.
All right, so I'm gonna bust out my guitar.
Oh shit! Let's do it.
I'm bust out my guitar. Oh shit! And would you fucking stop? One more time. I'm gonna bust out my guitar.
Oh shit!
Bust out my guitar. I'm gonna write a protest song. I'm gonna send it to you. And you throw down the fucking drums to it.
I got your protest song.
I'm ready.
What's
I'm
the
ready.
protest
Come
song?
on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now.
Nah,
How are we still on the air?
Why are we still on the air? Because it's fucking YouTube. We can do whatever we want. I can like show my butthole and be like,
it's not gonna
all right,
work.
And canceled.
we gotta end the stream so everybody can go watch Major Ojeda's
Yeah.
live stream.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that dude is like fucking energy.
He
Like,
is.
you don't even need energy
Got a
drink.
bottle
Just
of that.
watch that guy. Just talk to that guy for like 10, 15 minutes, and it's like, hell yeah, let's go fucking conquer England again or something.
Yeah. I was ready after that. Dude is hype.
Right?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Like I didn't have to, I just sat back and drink. Like, fucking let that guy go. Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely gonna see if we can get him on again. I want to get okay. So my dream is Bernie Sanders, Jasmine Crockett, and AOC. If we can like interview them before 2026, I will eat this hat on the fucking internet.
Okay, now I got
I
something
love
to make this shit happen.
Yeah. You guys, you heard it here first.
Like not all
Big
at the
story.
same time. We just like, like one day we have Bernie Sanders comes on and he's like, I'm gonna ask you guys one more time. And then, Jasmine Crockett's gonna come on and I'll be like, all right, so Jasmine, I'm gonna throw a hypothetical at you, and I'm just gonna like come up with some off the wall fucking right wing bullshit and be like, now give me your comeback. And then with AOC, I'll just be like, I don't even know.
Stop right there.
I just be like, read the phone book.
Yeah. I already know what I'm gonna say is, well, I know that you usually are not, very censored in your speech, but you're also intelligent enough to know that you can't just say anything. Right here, right now, tell us what you actually thought when you didn't get nominated for the head of that committee that you were supposed to be the head of, or
oh yeah,
yeah. Let's let it go. Here, have a few drinks. Let's wait about an hour in, and then ask that question and say, "Go." I want to hear what you really think.
Oh, Cliff Cash. All right, so it's probably been about 2 months since I saw this guy. His comedy video popped up, and I watched it. And I was like, this guy is definitely from some place in the South, and turns out he's from like North Carolina or some shit. This dude is fucking hilarious, and he like cloaks his jokes, like his political jokes, in like this random shit, and you're sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh damn, I want to see if we can get that guy on here too. Cliff Cash. If you don't know who that is, go get on like YouTube or whatever, fucking Google it or whatever.
I've heard.
Hell yes.
Heard it.
He's up there. I think the one that I watched, he was like, he was talking shit about the Confederacy, which is like one of my. Every April, I'm like, let's fucking do this. Let's bag on the Confederacy. And yeah, definitely. Oh, we could. I don't know if you, Doug. You might be new to this. I don't know if you've seen like my Confederate Heritage Month, where I like get all dolled up in a union.
I've seen them all.
Yeah. Oh, I want to get Cliff Cash on here to be like, let's talk about. Just be like, all right.
Let's
Tell
roast you
Confederacy.
As a part of the Confederacy. That would be awesome. Hey, but you know what though? We gotta get to Richard O, man.
Yeah, we gotta play it off the air, boss.
We gotta send people over there.
All right. That's our show for the evening. Fuck everybody. Drink
all of you.
All birds.
Don't be sober. That's cool too. Anyway, all right. How do we go?
Eagles.
2 claps and a Rick. Woo! Woo! Actually, O need to be here for that one. That's